Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya yato anvayaditaratascha artheshu abhigyaswarat Tene Brahmahridaya adikavaye muhyanti yatsuraya Tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha Dhamna swena sada nirastakohakam satyam param dhimahi Nigamakalpataror galitam phalam shukamukad amritadrava sanyutam Pibata Bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. We now enter the 44th chapter of the 10th Skandha of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we continue with the chapter on wrestling. So we saw that Chanura and Mushtika, the two big wrestlers, are in the wrestling arena, and Krishna and Balaram entered the wrestling arena and they were invited by them and they challenged them to a fight. So Shukabrahma Rishi continues, being challenged thus, the Lord Madhusudana decided to engage with Chanura and Balaram with Mushtika. It says, Evam Charchitam Sankalpo Bhagavan Madhusudanaha Asasadata Chanuram Mushtikam Rohini Sutah. Rohini Sutaha means the son of Rohini Balaram. He fought with Mushtika, and Madhusudana, who is Krishna, fought with Chanura. And it was an intense fight. They interlaced their hands with hands, feet with feet, and then their arms with arms. They were tugging at each other. It was a very hard wrestling match between the two pairs, and they were overthrowing each other. They were striking with elbows, with knees, head to head, chest to chest. Very intense fight going on. They were revolving each other, rotating, squeezing one in the arms of the other, throwing down, and then one jumping on top of the other to squeeze them, and then the one gets free of it and then tries to jump on top of the other. In this way, each was trying to score a victory over the other, and the fight was going on very intensely. But seeing this from the gallery, it seemed as if it was an unfair fight because Krishna and Balaram look very tender, whereas Chanura and Mushtika look huge. They were, of course, immensely strong, but they just looked so tender and young. So, all the ladies, especially in the galleries, they all got very worried. We already saw that they were so captivated by the beauty of Krishna, and therefore they were worried that something might happen in their own love. They started talking among each other. They said, look at this. This seems to be grossly unfair. What's going on? Nobody is saying anything. The king is sitting and watching there, and all his assistants and attendants are all also silently watching. They're saying, look at these two wrestlers, Chanura and Mushtika. They are huge. Their frame is so big, like two large mountains. And the two young lads, Balaram and Krishna, they have delicate limbs. They are not even fully grown men. And so this fight is not fair at all. And this seems to be so unfair, and yet nobody is talking. So they are very worried among themselves, these ladies. They say, how is it that nobody is protesting? Because according to them, very correctly, they say, if unrighteousness is happening, one should either leave that place or one should protest. To sit silently and watch, they say, is as equal as being part of it. So they say a principle of dharma that one keeping silent when something very unrighteous is going on is as guilty as the one taking part in it, or the one who makes a false statement about it. So they were very angry with all the men who were watching the match without doing anything in their own innocent love. They were concerned for Krishna and Balaram, and therefore they were very worried and complaining about everyone watching this. And they were also looking at Krishna's face, and they were telling among each other, look at that lotus face with perspiration. It is looking like a lotus flower sprinkled with water, and he is looking so graceful, delicate, and Balaram is looking so charming. And look at those two wrestlers, they are looking like giants. It is not even fair. And then they look at the two beautiful lads and they think of their pastimes in Vrindavan that they have been told, and they wonder about it, and they say, look at the fortune of the gopis of Vrindavan and look at us. We are here watching them fight with these two giants. Whereas there, the gopis were so fortunate, they saw them sport in the beautiful soil of Vrindavan, the two great lads, Balaram and Krishna. They were acting as ordinary cowherd men, wearing garland of forest flowers, tending cows, Krishna playing the flute, Balaram accompanying. What austerities did these women of Vraja perform because they were able to simply drink the beauty of Krishna's form. We are also seeing the same beauty here, and yet we are witnessing it in the middle of a fight. Whereas there they witnessed Krishna in the most enchanting form in the forest, playing the flute along with the cows, looking most charming. So, this is why the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan are so special and the most glorified, because Krishna, after he comes to Mathura, he starts behaving like a royal king, which has its own great beauty and grandeur. And then when he goes to Dwaraka, it is even more grand and reverent. But the sweetness with which he engages in Vrindavan that we saw, first as a little baby, and then as a young boy, and then as a grown young adult, and engaging in various pastimes of mischief and play and friendship and intimate romantic relationship with the gopis. All of this is not seen anywhere else, and that is why those pastimes are so special. So the women of Mathura also recount this and say, see how fortunate the men and women of Vrindavan are, especially the women, because they used to celebrate him in song. They would simply go about their daily work like milking the cows, pounding the corn, churning the curds, cleaning the floor, rocking the cradle of their babies, sweeping the houses, whatever chores they were doing, their mind was always thinking of Krishna, singing about Krishna, and they would get to see Krishna daily in the evenings, and they would be able to play with him, dance with him, sing with him. And in this way, they had the most blissful, blessed time, and they had such endless merit that they were able to see him morning and evening in this way. But here we are seeing him in this very tense form where he is fighting these two giants. So Krishna is, of course, aware of all these thoughts, and meanwhile, the parents Vasudeva and Devaki are there, and they are still afraid of Kamsa, and they are now afraid for the boys. They hear these speech done by the ladies, and they are not aware completely of the greatness of Krishna and Balaram, though they are having the inkling that they are invincible, and yet as parents they are also very worried, and so they are also a little bit concerned and wondering why Akrura went and brought them all the way here. Did he do the right thing? And so on. As all these thoughts were going on among the ladies and among even the parents Vasudeva and Devaki, Krishna decided to end the fun. So he was having fun with Chanura all this time, and in this way, the fun of all the spectators and even the parents increases, because there is a little bit of concern, as we see, little bit of worry and tense feelings, tension. All of this only heightens the joy when Krishna wins. Instead of winning easily, if he gives them this wonderful period of tension, followed by the great relief of victory, their joy is even more enhanced. This way, Krishna enhances the joy of everyone. That's why he is called Devaki Nandana, that is the one who enhances the joy of Devaki, just as Yashoda Nandana, who enhanced the joy of Yashoda in Vrindavan. So here Krishna does this, and now he decides to end the fun. So he now starts engaging with Chanura with great intensity, and the way he hits him, his limbs are now shattered. Chanura's limbs are shattered by Krishna's punches. He faints, and he again tries to get up and pounce on him, but Krishna simply blows him so hard and dashes him to the ground that he dies instantly. We saw Krishna even kill the mighty elephant Kuvalaya Pida. So Chanura, even though he is a huge wrestler, he is nowhere near the strength of the elephant, and therefore Krishna now decided to finish him off, and he killed him instantly. And meanwhile, Mushtika too, the other wrestler, was struck by Balaram or Balabhadra so hard, he punched him suddenly on his face with such a heavy blow that he simply fell unconscious, and then hit one more. He started vomiting blood, and he dropped dead like a tree falling down in wind. So in this way, Balaram finished Mushtika, and then three more wrestlers came, Kuta, Shala, and Toshala, and all three were also killed instantly by Krishna and Balaram. Looking at this, all the other wrestlers, they were all scared for their life. They just started running away. Everyone started running away. And then everybody saw that Krishna and Balaram are invincible. And so all the cowherd friends and cowherd men, they all entered the arena. They started celebrating, just as we see today. After a match is won, the family members come and join the winner. Similarly, here too, after the wrestling match is over and all the wrestlers were finished off and the remaining wrestlers ran away, all the cowherd men and friends and relatives, they all came and they started celebrating and dancing and so on. So it is said that other than Kamsa, everybody in the gallery started celebrating. Even though it is Kamsa's kingdom, he has arranged for this wrestling match. As Krishna and Balaram entered itself, he captured the hearts of almost everyone. And then, as the fight got over, seeing his valor, if anyone had any doubt at all of that was removed. And therefore, everyone was now on the side of Krishna and Balaram. And except Kamsa, everybody was glorifying. It says here, Janaf Prajahashuhu Sarve Karmana Rama Krishna Yoho Rite Kamsam Vipramukyaha Sadavaha Sadhu Sadhu Iti. So, Ramakrishna, that is Balaram and Krishna, their beauty and their valor and their power, seeing this, everybody was saying Sadhu, Sadhu, well done, well done. Especially the priests there were also glorifying. Other than Kamsa, everybody was glorifying. So, seeing this, Kamsa got very angry. He instantly ordered all the music to be stopped because in the wrestling game, music was being played, trumpets were being blown, kettle drums were being struck, and all kinds of sound was made, noise was made, music was made. So Kamsa stopped everything and he now got very angry, seeing that even his own crowd has turned against him and supporting Krishna and Balaram. So he says, drive these two boys out of this city now, these two sons of Vasudeva, drive them out of this city, and then take all the money away from these cowherd men, all their possessions, arrest this Nanda who brought all the cowherd men here, and then kill this Vasudeva, and while at it, kill my father too, Ugrasena. So this was his plan, as we may remember, when he sent Akrura, he told his master plan, which is that he will kill Krishna and Balaram through the wrestlers, and after that he will anyway kill Vasudeva, kill his father, and kill anyone who is against him so that he can have an iron grip on the kingdom. Now, given that Krishna and Balaram are undefeated, he anyway decides to go ahead with his plan. He says, drive out these two boys from here, arrest Nanda, kill Vasudeva, kill my father, thereby I can be free of all this fear. So when he says this, Krishna, of course, realizes this is the time to finish the long prophesied divine episode, which is the killing of Kamsa. Therefore, Krishna instantly, with great agility, jumps up to the dais. So, Kamsa is sitting on a royal throne on an elevated dais in the gallery. From the wrestling arena down below, Krishna jumps up in one fast movement to where Kamsa is. And as soon as Krishna appears on his dais, Kamsa realizes that he is in danger. So, he picks up his sword and shield in order to fight with Krishna. But Krishna is so fast, he quickly gets hold of Kamsa's hand and throws him down, and then he twists him left and right. And in this process, Kamsa is disheveled, and then Krishna grabs his hair, and his crown falls off of his head. And then by grabbing his hair, Kamsa is thrown onto the ground by Krishna. And then from the lofty dais, Krishna just throws him down all the way down on the wrestling arena. So he has a huge fall, and not only does he have a huge fall, Krishna immediately jumps from the dais right on top of the chest of Kamsa and punches him so hard that instantly Kamsa's life is gone, he's dead. And then after that, in order to display this to everyone, Krishna simply drags his dead body around the wrestling arena, showing that all the citizens can now rest assured, because their evil king, whom they were all fearing and who was oppressing everyone, he is now dead. So everybody was so happy, they instantly started glorifying and they were erupting in joy. When a brutal dictator is killed, the whole kingdom erupts in joy. We see that even now, many cases. So this is what happened there. Kamsa was killed, and instantly the whole crowd erupted in joy. Everybody was celebrating. But the most interesting thing was Kamsa's destiny. So we saw this being mentioned by Narada already in the 7th chapter, that Kamsa attained liberation just by fear. So here Shuka Brahmam says that because Kamsa had no other thought, his only thought was Krishna, and therefore while eating, while drinking, while sleeping, while walking, whatever he was doing, he was thinking of Krishna, worried about Krishna. And now he exactly got the end he feared. So the last thought he had was Krishna jumping on top of him, and therefore he was liberated just by that fear, because he had no other thought other than Krishna, and therefore it is said that he attained the form of the Lord, which is so hard to get. So Shuka Brahmam says, Sa nityadod vignadhya tam ishwaram piban vadan ya vicharan swapachvasan Dadarsha chakrayudam agrato yatasta deva rupam duravama mapa. So the hard destiny, the what is hard to attain, liberation by attaining the eternal abode in the form of the Lord, was possible for Kamsa just by this intense fear. So this is why it is said that any emotion, when it is taken to the extreme towards the Lord, even when one is jealous of the Lord, one is fearful of the Lord, in any way, if they are completely thinking of nothing other than Him, then they are liberated. So, in this way, Kamsa is liberated. Then Kamsa's brothers come to defend him and attack Krishna, but they are all killed instantly by Balaram. Balaram, who's there, he makes short work of all of them. They are all killed very easily. Then, again, the music starts playing. The music that was stopped by Kamsa, but now everybody is relieved that not only Kamsa but all the evil brothers are killed. The kingdom is liberated. So the kettle drums are playing, the trumpets are blowing, all the musical instruments are playing, flowers are being showered upon, women are dancing in joy, celestial beings are blessing. So, in this way, there is an intense celebration, except for the wives of Kamsa and the brothers. So, the wives are grieving. They come down to the wrestling arena, they embrace their husbands in the arena, and then they cry. The women wail, holding their husbands close to them, and then they say, we are now left without any support because you have left and gone. But then they also, in their grief, they realize the folly of their husbands. These women, these wives of Kamsa and his brothers, they recognize that their husbands deserved what they get. So even though they are very much grieving that they are bereft of the company of their husbands, and therefore they are now not queens anymore, and their position is completely changed. Yet they also say that you have deserved your fate because you all caused immense harm to innocent creatures, and that is why you were reduced to this plight. And then they also say that Krishna is the source and the protector of all beings, and how can anyone who shows disrespect to him prosper? So even these ladies, they recognize that which Kamsa and the brothers did not recognize. They say, Sarveshamiha bhutanam eshahi prabhavapyayah goptacha tad avadhyayi na kvachit sukhamedate. So they say that you brought immense harm and you did not recognize that Krishna is the source and the protector of all. That's why you couldn't prosper or even survive. So, in any case, Krishna comforts all these widows now, and then he arranges for the final rites, the whatever ceremonies are necessary to be performed for those who have died. And then he gets Vasudeva and Devaki freed, the parents, and then Krishna and Balaram bow down to them, touching their feet. And Devaki and Vasudeva by now fully recognize that their sons are not ordinary beings. Krishna is the supreme being himself, and Balaram is the expansion of the Supreme Being, and therefore, when Krishna and Balaram touch their feet, Devaki and Vasudeva also show respect to them by holding their palms together. It is said here, Devaki Vasudevascha Vijnaya Jagadishwarau Kritasam Vandanau Putrau Sam Swajate Na Shankitau. So they did not normally, parents, when the sons bow down to their feet, they simply bless them. And we see Nanda and Yashoda do the same in Vrindavan many times, because for the most part they never realized, or they never considered Krishna and Balaram as Supreme Being and his expansion. They just saw them as their own sons. Whereas here Devaki and Vasudeva, they now recognize that they are not ordinary sons, they are divine, and therefore they simply show their respect to. And now, with this, Kamsa being slain and the kingdom being liberated, and Devaki and Vasudeva also freed, Krishna is now ready to begin the next chapter of Mathura. He has come and within a day finished what was necessary to be accomplished and liberated Mathura and fulfilled the prophecy of killing Kamsa and liberating him too. And now, after this, Mathura will be ruled over by Krishna, and we shall see the pastimes of Krishna in Mathura and how he goes to Dwaraka in the next episode onward. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.